We're fighting for our dignity, for our citizenship, full citizenship rights now. So you're looking at this really contested terrain, and in the middle of this contested terrain, you have African Americans who refuse to go into their place, who refuse to just stand there and take it, and who refuse to just abide by the old ways because they're like, no, this is a new day.
This program is brought to you by Emory University.
Tulsa, the African American community in Tulsa was relatively prosperous, well educated. I mean, they had done everything that they were supposed to do in terms of the American dream. You work hard, you save your money, you go to school, you buy property. I mean, this is what they had done under horrific conditions. I mean, when you look at the context of what Black America looked like at the time, the fact that they were able to do this is one of the things that we herald in terms of when we talk about the immigrant story, right? But instead, this created such seething resentment in Tulsa that you had Black doctors, Black attorneys, Black businessmen. I mean, in fact, this area of Tulsa was known as Black Wall Street, to give you some sense of how much it held in terms of value, in terms of esteem, in terms of worth. But that resentment in Tulsa was so intense, and that it was just waiting for a spark to just ignite it. That spark was a Black messenger was delivering a message. You know, they had messengers back in the day, was delivering a message downtown. And he gets in the elevator, and there's a white woman in the elevator. I believe she was the elevator operator. And from the first floor through the third floor, I mean, the elevator may have bumped or something, and he hit her a little bit, but he didn't hit her, he just kind of brushed against it. She yelled, "Rape." Now, to understand what the charge of rape means when a white woman yells rape against a Black man in this period, because part of understanding the violence that African Americans faced was to deal with the issue of what was called the sanctity of white womanhood. And that sanctity of white womanhood said that all white women had to be protected from Black beast, so-called Black beast. And when she yelled rape, now the charge was absolutely improbable from the first floor to the third floor. Improbable. But it was the spark. They couldn't wait because he was the son of a prominent Black businessman. So they hauled him, the police hauled him down to the station. Well, the Black elite came down to the station going, you know, this is my son, this is my boy. My son wouldn't do this. What's his bail? And like, oh, uppity, how dare you come down here? How dare you? And because the African American community sensed that the sense of anger and violence was rising, it wasn't one or two that came down, there were several of them that came down. And like, oh, so what, are you going to storm the jail? They said, no, but we're here for justice. We're here for justice. And then the lynch mob began to form in Tulsa. It was like, oh, these are some uppity Negroes who need to be put back in their place. And the violence began. Black Tulsa was, the lynch mob rode in, but they also came in airplanes, dropping bombs on Tulsa, Black Tulsa. There are descriptions and depictions of African Americans being decapitated, being forced to kneel down and just having their heads severed. There are the pictures of the strafings, of the bombings, of the shootings. Nobody's quite sure what the death toll is. But when you look at the pictures, what you see is an area that had once been thriving. What we say is the American dream, absolutely leveled by the violence, by the lynch mobs, by the airplanes, by the bombs, leveled. Black Tulsa has never recovered. As the bombings are happening, as the violence is happening, as Tulsa is on fire, the governor of Oklahoma is like, whoa, maybe, we should. The feds are looking up going, this is not our issue. Wow. Nothing we can do here. And that is so indicative of the imbalance that has happened in terms of justice, in terms of rights, in terms of the protection of basic civil and human rights for African Americans in the United States.
Hi, my name is Azim Aziz. I'm running for alderman in the First Ward because I love our community. I'm also running because I believe the First Ward needs change. I feel strongly that together we can refocus and rebuild the First Ward. I know that change is possible because I know what we're capable of. I was born and raised in the Ville and graduated from Sumner High School in 1983. I remember how great it was growing up in St. Louis, where neighbors were true friends and neighborhoods were real communities. I moved to Walnut Park in 1987 and raised my 2 children here. I chose to bring my family here because it felt like a community with other young families like mine and strong, stable neighborhoods. I understand the very serious problems facing our community today. Over the years, I've watched our neighborhood decline as homes slowly became empty houses and overgrown lots. I've seen how violent crime and poverty have become more concentrated in our city and how population flight has affected the life of our community. After watching that decline, I feel obligated to step up and do my part. I want to help restore our neighborhoods, our community, to its former greatness and create an even better future for our children and our grandchildren. It's time to turn things around now. I plan to put first things first in the First Ward. That means focusing on the most important problems facing our community. That means being clear about our priorities and acting on them by putting holistic solutions to work. I plan to focus on achieving 4 critical goals for the people of the First Ward. 1, reduce crime. 2, create jobs and economic development. 3, improve education. And 4, improve the quality of life. I know the hard work that's needed, and I am serious about getting it done. But I won't fool myself that I can change things alone. Change only happens when we do it together. That's why we need to talk, and we need to come together. Let's draw from everyone's thoughts and prayers and experiences to rebuild a community for our families. Real talk for real actions. I'm not a politician, but I am a business owner who knows how to deliver measurable solutions and achieve tangible results. I understand the importance of listening to your clients and meeting their needs. You, the residents of the First Ward, deserve the same courtesy, respect, and input. Please call me, email me, send me a tweet, or just drop by the office. You must be heard. Let's all work together to make the First Ward neighborhoods the best and the brightest in St. Louis. Thank you, and I look forward to working with you. God bless you.
Hello, my name is Christopher Simpson, CEO of the St. Louis Natural Hair and Black Culture Expo. Our goal is to provide a platform for small community-based businesses to market and sell their products and services. Consumers who are interested in healthy, fashionable natural hair using the best natural hair products and services. Feel free to contact us at stlnaturalhairexpo.com or call us at 314-398-1585. Thank you.
Hi neighbors, I'm Earl Bush with the City of Northwoods, and I'm running for re-election in the 2nd Ward. I'm asking the residents there to re-elect me simply because of my proven experience that I've served on the board and would like to continue serving on some of the new initiatives that I planned for the new year. My first initiative is neighborhood stabilization, where we spend a lot of time working with the different houses in our community and making sure that they're up to par as far as code. My second initiative is our senior citizens in our community, just making sure they have total access to all the different organizations that could be very beneficial to our community, and making sure that our police department has a chance to know each and every last one of our seniors in my ward. Again, residents, I'm Errol Bush, and I'm running for 2nd Ward Alderman in the City of Northwoods. Definitely looking forward to seeing you at the polls, and tell your neighbors about me as well, that I would like to see them as well at the polls.
Hi, my name is Cedric from Ceddy's Automotive. I am a certified mobile mechanic. I come to your home or your business. I specialize in all makes and all models. I service your car from your brakes to your engine. Please give me a call at 314-327-7813. My name is Cedric from Ceddy's Automotive, and I am destined for dynasty.
Claude Neal was the last spectacle lynching in the United States. Now, I know spectacle and lynching are words that really should not go together, but they did. What happened in 1934 was that Claude Neal was in a jail in Alabama. The lynch mob was incensed. They didn't want him going through the regular judicial system. Now understand that the regular judicial system in Alabama for African Americans was not a kind and gentle force. But a lesson needed to be made of Claude. And that lesson was going to be one of the most horrific acts of violence on American soil. Part of what you had with spectacle lynching was that, I know we have these ideas in our head about a lynching where there are one guy, two guys. They sold tickets. This was advertised in the churches. Special trains were in fact reserved where you could get the special train ticket. It's almost like a cruise line kind of deal. I mean, it was a festival. It was an event. And yeah, I don't need an event where it's advertised, announced in church on Sunday. So, you know, we've got Minister so-and-so is going to be speaking here, and so-and-so is going to be happening there. And oh, by the way, we're going to have a lynching down in Florida. You can get your special tickets in the back. They only cost so much, and it's going to, bring your kids, bring a picnic basket. It's going to be fabulous. Claude Neal gets yanked out of that jail in Alabama. He gets sent through a gauntlet of torture down into Florida, where the crowd that has bought their tickets and come in on their special trains and brought their picnic baskets are waiting for this incredible event. He is put up on a stand, stripped naked, and the crowd is going wild. He's being branded. I mean, you already see the blood. I mean, because he's gone through this gauntlet of torture. And then they begin to just start cutting off his body parts. Part of the torture is they begin to cut off his genitalia. They cut off one piece, stuff it in his mouth, and force him to eat it. And the crowd is like, yeah! And they cut off some more of his genitalia, stuff that in his mouth, and eat it. So you can imagine this man is standing there before the throng, bleeding, forced to eat his own flesh. And there is no sense of humanity anywhere in the air. Then they start cutting off his fingers and throwing them to the crowd like a souvenir. And the crowd is like, more, 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 more. And Claude is there bleeding to death, being branded with hot irons. And finally, after no more, then strung up. This is the spectacle lynching of Claude Neal. That was horrific enough. But what in fact makes it beyond egregious is then the response of the law enforcement officials. The NAACP immediately sent folks down to investigate this lynching. They went to Alabama and they said, Alabama, there's no crime committed here because he wasn't killed here. So they went to the officials in Florida. Florida said, he's not from here. No crime committed because he's not from here. Now, I didn't realize that anywhere in the statute dealing with murder, it said you had to be from that space in order for that to be a murder. But the NAACP thought, we now have on the books the Lindbergh kidnapping law, based on the kidnapping of Charles Lindbergh's baby, that therefore makes it a crime, a federal crime, to take somebody and transport them against their will across state lines. So the NAACP goes to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI. J. Edgar Hoover says, no crime committed here because nobody asked for a ransom. That is what justice looked like for Claude Neal and so for so many African Americans during the Great Depression.
My name is James Stewart, member of the New African Paradigm Study Group, also a member of Psi Bi A. We have an event coming up on March the 4th at Harris Stowe. Come join us to understand how economic systems can build and destroy a community. Also, how to use your personal earnings to support and reinforce our financial community. Practice vertical economics to build and codify the community with businesses and schools and other institutions. And you can get tickets at Afro World. You can also get tickets at Progressive Emporium. You get tickets at NAPS. Or you can call me at area code 618-977-8191. You can go online at eventbrite.com to get tickets also. If you're interested in helping building a school in Ghana, you go to our website, sabia.org.
Hi, I'm LaWanda Williams, and I have a new show, and it's called Life's Inspiring Change. The show will actually unite diverse branches of people in a relational way. Life Inspiring Change is to inspire, motivate, encourage individuals not to give up on their dreams or their passion. The great Maya Angelou states, in minor ways we're different, but in major ways we're the same. I'm LaWanda Williams, the host of Life's Inspiring Change, and I'm destined for dynasty.
Are you under an audit or facing a tax lien or levy? Do you have a tax bill too big to pay? When you have tax problems, Thornton Tax Firm is here to defend you. Do not try to take on the government alone. Accountant Jason M. Thornton has been recognized by the U.S. Department of Treasury for his outstanding contributions as a tax advisor. If you have an individual or business tax problem, or you are simply looking for a professional tax accountant that will be there for you year-round and not just during tax season, Thornton Tax Firm is the answer. We defend individuals, small businesses, and nonprofit organizations. We also offer tax preparation and nonprofit 501c3 filing.
I'm accountant Jason Thornton. Tax problems don't just go away. Get help and take action. Call my office for a free consultation.
Okay, anybody with anything to promote. I'm talking about your small businesses, whether it's online or brick and mortar. I'm talking about all my nonprofit organizations, all my churches who want to do a little more witnessing and getting more people in the pews. Anybody with anything to promote needs to call Dynasty Television, 314-361-2520. We've removed cost as a barrier for you to advertise. If that was your only excuse, call 314-361-2520. It's time for the Dynasty Dollar Deal. $1 down, 4 30-second commercials that get played in our television shows that air on Charter Channel 198, 500,000 subscribers? Where do they do that? Right here in St. Louis. Dynasty Television, it's the people's media production company.
Hi, I am Felicia Johnson of J Optical Vision, where we provide affordable, luxury, customized contact lenses and eyewear. Our trained technicians will apply to their optical knowledge to assisting in your design with your unique look. Our one-on-one consultation designed to deliver a great customer service experience in a family-based atmosphere. In addition to our standard services, we assist and partner with families with their incarcerated loved ones and senior citizens in residential homes. Bring your prescription to receive 30% off of your purchase. All Medicaid and Medicare insurance are welcome. We are located at 3430 McKelvey Road, Suite A, Bridgeton, Missouri, 63044. Our number is 314-274-8484. You also can reach us at www.jopticalvision.net. I'm Felicia with J Optical Vision, and we are polite for your eyesight.
One of the most interesting, crazy, incredible cases of American jurisprudence deals with Scottsboro. Again, you can't understand unless you've got the context of the Great Depression. You have folks riding the rails looking for work just because they can't afford to, I'll go find this job here. So they're just hopping on a train and riding in, trying to find work wherever they can find work. Well, what happens in the Scottsboro case is you have 9 black teenagers, and some of them get in a fight on the train with a couple of white guys. The train stops in Scottsboro, because this fight has broken out. As they're getting off the train, as the sheriff's folks are there, the white guys get off, the black guys get off, and then 2 white women get off. And the townsfolk are looking around going, oh. And the white women, because you've got black guys and white women in Alabama in the early 1930s, I believe 1932. It's like, whoa. And the women, Victoria Price and Ruby Bates, yell rape and say that these 9 black teenagers raped them. The town immediately took the 9 kids, hauled them in jail. There was a 1-day trial for these 9 kids that ranged from the age of like 12 or 13 to 17. Known as the Scottsboro Boys. In this trial, Victoria Price described a horrific rape. Well, the problem was that the doctor who had examined these women said, there's no evidence of rape here. But that didn't stop the jury. The doctor now didn't testify that there was no evidence of rape. But it was very clear that he knew there was no evidence of rape. And he had told folks there was no evidence of rape. These 9 black teenagers were convicted. And rape was an executable offense in the 1930s. And so in a 1-day trial, 8 of them were sentenced to die in the electric chair. The youngest was sentenced to life imprisonment in an Alabama prison. Now, there are multiple problems with that story. One, Ruby Bates, one of the women who had yelled rape, recanted, said it didn't happen. Now, let me tell you what really happened here. were prostitutes. And the Mann Act, the Federal Mann Act, says that we were afraid of getting, because you can't cross state lines for immoral purposes. And since we crossed over out of Tennessee into Alabama, we were afraid that we might get brought up on federal charges. So we were just trying to protect ourselves. And so we just said, rape. Another part of the problem was that first the Communist Party's legal wing hopped in there and took this case up to the Supreme Court to try to protect the Scottsboro Boys. Then the NAACP hopped in it. But a major Supreme Court decision was the Powell v. Alabama decision that came after this. Because think about this. You're on trial for your very life for a crime that never happened. Your court-appointed attorneys, one is the town drunk. I believe at the time he may have had a blood alcohol level of 0.2. I mean, lit. The other attorney in a capital case is probably in about the fourth stages of senility. So one of your attorneys is senile, looking for butterflies, and the other one is drunk, seeing butterflies. Now, the Supreme Court, even the Supreme Court in the 1930s went, really? No, come on. Come on. This is just too much even for us. And they remanded the case. They kicked the case back down. You got to try these fellas again. Well, what happens now that they've got a real legal team is that they began to construct the train and found out that many of the Scottsboro boys weren't even in the same car as the women. So how can a rape happen if the guys aren't in that car? They were convicted once again. Case goes back up to the Supreme Court. By the time there were so many egregious constitutional errors in this case that by the time the Scottsboro case is done, and eventually they start getting let out one by one by one by one, it took first 18 years for the last one. Imagine being in prison, in an Alabama prison. You are 17. You get out when you're 35 for a crime that never happened. A crime where one of the women has recanted. A crime where the evidence demonstrates that you couldn't have done this thing. This would be called an egregious wrong. You also had several who had escaped. Imagine trying to escape from an Alabama chain gang, but they managed to get out. Michigan refused. Alabama tracked one down up into Michigan. Michigan refused, and think about this, a state refusing to extradite a convicted felon back to Alabama because Michigan looked up and said, this is wrong. This is just wrong. The last one was pardoned by Governor George Wallace sometime, I believe, in the 1980s. So imagine again, basically living in the shadows for almost 40, 50 years because of something that never happened. The charge of rape. I mean, Scottsboro speaks to so much in the criminal justice system. But what you also get in this is a series of Supreme Court decisions dealing with the right to competent counsel. Thank God. And the right to have a jury that is really truly a jury of your peers. Now, that is some amazing jurisprudence that is coming out of this case of horrific, egregious, unjust, justifiable. I have no more words for what happened at Scottsboro, but an egregious wrong that, in my eyes, has never been righted.